जय श्री माता जी. Srimad Devi Bhagavat. If you want to know who Adi Shakti is, read Devi Bhagavat, said by Her Holiness Srimataji Nirmala Devi. Sankalpam. Mama Atmanah Sahajayogi Kutumbanam Atmonnati Prityartham Moksha Prapti Prityartham Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Pujanam Karishe. The Holy Recital of Srimad Devi Bhagavat.
Chapter 9, Episode 25. Description of Tulsi Puja, Dhyan, Namashtak, 8 names and praises. Narada asked, Prabhu, when Bhagwan Narayan performed puja to Tulsi, what was the procedure and what stutis were sung? Please tell me all this. Also, who was the first to perform this puja and how this Devi came to be worshipped? I desire to hear all this from you. Sut Ji says, Munivars, Bhagwan Narayan was extremely pleased with the questions put by Narada. He began the purifying story that grants punyas to those who listen to it. Bhagwan Narayan said, Bhagwan Srihari gave Tulsi a place of honor and love equal to that of Lakshmi and also made her his wife. Lakshmi and Ganga tolerated the new status given to Tulsi, but Saraswati could not accept it. After being insulted by Saraswati, Tulsi became invisible. She was accomplished in all the siddhis. She removed herself completely from the sight of Bhagwan Sri Hari. When Sri Hari did not see Tulsi, he clarified and explained everything to Saraswati and left for Tulsi one. He uttered a mantra using Lakshmi Bij, Shreem, Maya Bij, Hreem, Kam Bij, Kleem, and Vani Bij, Aim, and then added Vrindavan Jai and Swaha to make a Dashakshar mantra of 10 syllables. Shreem, Hreem, Kleem, Aim, Vrindavan Jai, Swaha. Narad, this is Mantraraj Kalpataru. Whoever chants this mantra and performs puja to Tulsi gets all the siddhis. The puja was performed by Bhagwan Srihari using a ghee deepa, dhoop, incense, sindoor, chandan, 9 types of offerings and flowers, and by singing stotras. Tulsi was very pleased and immediately emerged from the plant. She offered pranams to Bhagwan Srihari and dissolved herself into his lotus feet. Then the Lord gave her a boon. Devi, may you be worshipped by all. I will bear you on my forehead and on my chest. Not only this, but all the gods will bear you on their foreheads. Then the Lord left for his abode. Bhagwan Narayan says, when Tulsi removed herself from his sight, Bhagwan Srihari was very sad at the separation. He went to Brindavan and sang stutis to Tulsi. Sri Bhagwan said, when the form of Vrinda and the plant became one, then the wise called it as Vrinda. She who is known by this name and she who is Tulsi is dear to me and I worship her. That Devi who manifested in Vrindavan and who is known as Vrindavani, to that Saubhagyavati Devi I offer worship. She who resides in all the plants and receives worship and is called Vriksh Pujita, I worship that Devi. Devi who have purified and made holy innumerable trees and plants. Being separated from such Devi Vriksha Pavani, I offer worship to her. Without Devi Tulsi, any amount of flowers offered to the gods does not please them. That Devi is sad, and I am anxious and full of fear. I desire to have a darshan of that crowning glory of all flowers and the great purifier Devi Tulsi. That Devi who gives joy to those who attain her and who is called Nandini, may that Devi Tulsi be pleased with me. That Devi who is incomparable and who is called Tulsi may please accept my worship. That Sadhavi Devi Tulsi, who is eternally dear to Sri Krishna and is therefore called Krishna Jivani, may that Devi protect me. Singing stutis in this way, Lakshmikant Bhagwan Sri Hari remained in Vrindavan. Then there appeared before him Sakshat Tulsi and offered pranams at his lotus feet. Her eyes were wet with tears because of the insult she had received. Sri Hari embraced her close to his heart. With the consent of Saraswati, he took Tulsi to his abode and re-established the love between Saraswati and Tulsi. Bhagwan Srihari also pronounced a boon. Devi, may you be venerated and worshipped by all. This boon from Bhagwan Vishnu greatly pleased Devi Tulsi. Saraswati offered her a seat beside her. Lakshmi and Ganga were smiling, and they took her hands and led her into the Bhavan. There are 8 names of Devi Tulsi: Vrinda, Vrindavani, Vishwapujita, Vishwapavani, Pushpasara, Nandini, Tulsi, and Krishna Jivani. The person who performs puja and sings the stotras containing this Namashtak, he gets the fruits of an Ashwamedha Yagya. During the Kartik Purnima, Tulsi manifested herself and the first puja was performed by Bhagwan Sri Hari. Since then it has become important to perform puja to Vishwapavani Tulsi on Kartik Purnima day. It grants release from all sins and entitles one to a place in Vishnulok. He who worships Bhagwan Vishnu with Tulsi Patra during the month of Kartik gets the fruits of performing Godan of 10,000 cows. The chanting of Tulsi Namashtak grants children to the barren, gives the blessing of a good wife, and gives the blessings of good, sincere friends. The sick get rid of their illness, people get rid of bondages, those who are overcome by fear become fearless, and all sins get washed away. Narad, I have told you the Tulasi Stotra. Now I will tell you the procedures for puja and meditation. You already know about meditation. It is written in the Kanva Shaka of the Vedas. Meditation has the Shakti to destroy the greatest of sins. After meditation, one must worship the Tulasi plant with Shodashopchar, 16 methods of worship: Avahan, Asan, Ardhya, Padhya, Achaman, Madhupark, Snan, Vastrabharan, Yagyopavit, Gandh, Pushp, Deep, Naivedya, Tambul, Parikrama, and Vandana. The Param Sadhvi Tulsi is the essence of all the flowers. All parts of the plant are holy. She can turn to ashes all sins just like the flames of fire. There is no flower that can compare to her. Her greatness is described in the Vedas. In any situation, she is a purifier. Bhagwan bears her on his forehead. Everyone wishes to attain her. She is eternally free, Nitya Mukt. It is her nature to grant mukti and bhakti to Bhagwan Sri Hari. Wise and learned persons perform meditation, puja and stutis and offer worship to Devi Tulsi. Narad, this is the story of Tulsi. What would you like to hear next? Chapter 9, Episode 26, Procedure for Puja and Stuti to Savitri Devi. Narad said, I am fortunate to hear the story of Tulsi which compares with Amrut. Now please tell me the story of Savitri. It is she who gave birth to the Vedas. How did this Devi manifest and who was the first to offer puja to her? Bhagwan Narayan says, Muni, the first to worship Savitri was Brahmadev. Later, she was worshipped by all the Devas. Then all learned people worshipped her. Then in Bharatvarsh, Raja Ashwapati performed her puja, then she was worshipped by all four classes of people. Naradji asked, Brahman, who was Raja Ashwapati and what was the purpose of his worship? Bhagwan Narayan said, Muni, Raja Ashwapati was king of Madhya Desh. It was his nature to destroy the strength of his enemies and protect the well-being of his friends and subjects. His queen was called Malati. She was chaste and dharmic and presided beside the king like Lakshmi beside Bhagwan Vishnu. Narad, they had no children. As directed by Vasishthaji, she began to worship Bhagavati Savitri. But she did not get any token, nor did she get a darshan of the Devi. She returned home very sad and disappointed. Raja Ashwapati comforted her and himself left for Pushkar to perform tapasya to Devi Savitri. He stayed there, gained control of all his senses and performed tapasya. He did not get a darshan of the Devi, but he got a directive. He heard a voice from heaven which said, Rajan, you must chant Gayatri 10 lakh times. Just then Muni Parashar arrived. The king offered pranams. Muni said, Rajan, just uttering Gayatri once destroys the sins of one day. By saying it 10 times, the sins of one day and one night get destroyed. 100 times destroys sins of a whole month. 1000 times burns to ashes the sins of many years. 1 lakh times releases one from the sins of the lifetime, and 1 crore times destroys the sins of all future births. 10 crores of recitation of Gayatri gives freedom to Brahmins. The Brahmin should sit facing east and form his hands like the hood of a snake. Then he should count the mantras on the joints of his fingers from below to upwards. This method of counting mantras is called Karmala. Rajan, it is also necessary to have a mala of sandalwood or crystal beads. These should be smeared with gorochan, yellow liquid from a cow's mouth, and then washed. If not, then it can also be purified by smearing it with panchagavya, mixture of cow's milk, curd, boiled butter, cow dung and cow's urine, and washed in Ganga Jal. After this purification, this mala can be used for counting 100 mantras of Gayatri. Raj Rishi, in this way you must chant Gayatri 10 lakh times. By this, you can wash away the sins of 3 births. After this, you will get Sakshat Darshan of Devi Savitri. Rajan, you should also perform daily 3 times in the morning, afternoon and evening Sandhya prayers, because the one who does not do this remains impure and is not entitled to any fruits. The Brahmin who regularly performs the 3 Sandhyas throughout his life becomes lustrous and effulgent like the sun. Such a Brahmin is never affected by sin and is verily twice born, a realized soul. Just by his presence, places of worship become holier. At the sight of him, negative forces run away like snakes running from Garud. If a Brahmin who neglects his daily sandhyas offers obsequies for his dead ancestors, they decline it and even the gods do not accept his offerings. Muni. In this way, Muni Parashar taught Raja Ashwapati the protocols of worshipping Savitri. He returned to his ashram and the king began his tapasya. He was blessed with a darshan and also many boons. Narada asked, Bhagwan, please tell me all the protocols that Muni Parashar taught the king regarding meditation, puja, stotras, and mantras, and what boons were received by him. Knowledge of Devi Savitri is highly secret and inaccessible. Please enlighten me. Bhagwan Narayan says, on Jyesht Krishna Trayodashi, the 13th day of the dark fortnight of the third month of the Hindu calendar, one should observe sobriety and abstinence. Then, on the 14th day, one should observe fast, and after due purifications, one should start the puja to Devi Savitri. This is to be repeated for 14 years. It grants 14 fruits and 14 kinds of Naivedya are to be offered. Also to be offered are flowers and dhoop, incense. Prepare a Mangal Kalash and place a branch in it. First offer puja to Sri Ganesh, Surya, Agni, Vishnu, Shiva and Parvati and then meditate on the invited deity Sri Savitri. This has been described in Madhyandini Shaka, a branch of Yajurveda. I will also tell you the stotras, puja procedure and effective mantras. This is the meditation. The color of Savitri is like molten gold. She is always lustrous and illuminated with Brahmatej. Her radiance is like 1,000 summer suns shining at midday. She has a smile on her face. She is adorned with jeweled ornaments. She wears 2 divine garments. She has manifested to grant benevolence to her bhaktas. She is the beloved of the Creator. She is also called Sukada, Muktida, Shanta, Sarvasampat Swarupa, and Sarvasampat Pradhartri. She is the presiding deity of the Vedas. Veda Shastras are her form. I worship the Ved Bij Swarupa, Ved Mata Bhagavati Savitri. After meditating in this way, one should offer the Naivedyas. Then, with great respect, one should do Kalash Puja and invite the goddess. While chanting mantras from the Vedas, puja should be performed using 16 types of ingredients. When this is complete, one should offer pranams to Devi Sri Savitri. The 16 offerings for a puja are Asan, Padya, Arghya, Snan, Anulepan, Dhoop, Deep, Naivedya, Tambul, Sheetal Vastra, Bhushan, Mala, Chandan, Achaman and pleasing Shaya. First, mantra when offering the asan or seat. O Devi, this asan is made of superior wood and covered with gold. The gods reside in this and it is worthy to be offered to you. Second, Padya, water for washing feet. Devi, I offer you this holy Tirth water for washing your lotus feet. This procedure creates love and affection and is a very important part of the puja. Third, Arghya, precious articles. Devi, I have decorated this offering with doob grass, flowers, tulsi and shankjal. May it please you to accept this humble offering. Fourth, Snan, water for bath. Devi, I have mixed sandalwood in this water to make it fragrant. With it, I have kept scented oils. I pray that these offerings are worthy to be put before you. Fifth, Anulepan, pastes and unguents. Ambike, this holy mixture of sweet smelling ingredients, which has been made into a paste with sandal water, I humbly place before you for anointing. Sixth, Dhoop, incense. Parameshwari, this superior incense gives auspiciousness and inclination for worship. Kindly accept. Seventh, Deep, lamp. Devi, this is the light which will enlighten the universe. It contains the seed for dispelling all darkness and spiritual ignorance. Eighth, Naivedya, offerings of sweets and delicacies. Devi, this tasty and delicious offering satisfies hunger and thirst and gives love and punyas. Be pleased to accept it. Ninth, Sheetal Jal, cool, pure water. This water, which was created to quench the thirst of the world and which is life giving, is placed before you. 10th, Vastra, clothes. Parameshwari, please accept this cloth woven from pure cotton and silk. It will become pure and dignified when it is draped on you. The assembly will be blessed to see you wearing this. 11th, Bhushan, ornaments. Devi, please accept these ornaments of gold and precious stones. 12th, fruits. These are fruits produced by different trees. They are of different colors, forms, and flavors and can produce more fruits like themselves. Please be kind to accept them. 13th, Mala, garlands. Devi, this garland made of fragrant and beautiful flowers is the embodiment of all auspiciousness. This Pushpamala grants many boons. We pray that you accept it. 14. Chandan, sandalwood. O Devi, we are pleased to offer you this most sweet smelling sandalwood. Kindly accept it. 15th, Sindoor. This sindoor is considered the foremost item of Shringar as it adorns the forehead with beauty. Please accept this. 16th, Yagyopavit, sacred thread. This sacred thread is extremely pure. It has been made from holy yarn and has been purified by holy mantras from the Vedas. Be pleased to accept it. Wise and learned men should recite the Mool mantras and make these offerings to Bhagavati Savitri. Then Dakshina must be given to the Brahmins. After uttering the name Savitri, one must add Swaha. Then utter the mantras of Lakshmi, Maya, and Kambij. This is the Ashtakshar mantra. Om Hreem Kleem Shreem Savitriyai Swaha. This mantra, which is most pleasing to Bhagavati Savitri, is mentioned in Madhyandini Shaka. For Brahmins, this is the embodiment of life. I will elucidate for you. Listen carefully. It happened in ancient times. Bhagwan Sri Krishna was in residence in Golok Dham. He had directed Savitri to go with Brahma. But Savitri did not go to Brahmalok. Then, on the advice of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Brahmaji began to sing stutis to Ved Mata Savitri. Then, Savitri accepted Brahmaji as her husband. This is how Brahmaji sang stutis. Brahmaji said, Sundari, you are Sachitanand Swarupa and Mool Prakriti Mai, material cause of the universe. Your divine form is like golden nectar. In your benevolence, be pleased with me. Devi, you are the embodiment of light and luster. Your being is most joy-giving. You are the lineage for realized souls. Sundari, be pleased with me. You are Nitya, Nitya Priya, and Nityanand Swarupa. You are the complete auspiciousness. I desire that you should be pleased with me. Shobhane, for Brahmins, you are everything. You are above all, and you are the essence of all mantras. By worshipping you, one gets moksha and all happiness. Be pleased with me. Sundari, you are blazing doom for all the sins. It is your nature to bestow Brahmatej, the glow of self realization. Be pleased with me. Whatever sins a man commits by thought, word, or deed, if he just remembers your holy name, he gets release. After singing these stutis, Jagatdata Brahmaji took his seat in the Sabha Bhavan. Then Savitri agreed to accompany him to Brahmalok. Muni, it was this Stotra Raj, king of Stotras, that Raja Ashwapati sang to please Bhagwati Savitri. The Devi was pleased and gave a darshan to Raja Ashwapati, and he received the desired boon from her. This is a most holy stotra, and if one sings this daily after prayers, the fruits are equal to that which one gets by reading all the four Vedas. Chapter 9, Episodes 27-28. Raja Ashwapati gets boon of a daughter called Savitri. Her marriage to Satyavan. Death of Satyavan and dialogue between Savitri and Yamraj. Bhagwan Narayan says, when King Ashwapati performed puja to Devi Savitri and sang this stuti, the Devi was pleased and gave him a Sakshat Darshan. Her Sri Vigraha, divine form, shone like 1,000 rising suns. She laughed and spoke to Raja Ashwapati as a mother to a son. At that time, all four directions were illuminated with her effulgence. Devi Savitri said, Maharaj, ask me for whatever you desire. The desires of your wife are also not hidden from me. I am here only to grant your wishes. Rajan, your wife desires a daughter and you wish for a son. One by one, both your desires will be fulfilled. After this, Bhagwati Savitri returned to Brahmalok and the king went back to his kingdom. First, a daughter was born, whom the king named Savitri. She was so beautiful that she resembled Lakshmi. She grew like the waxing moon, more and more beautiful each day. When she attained marriageable age, the king gave her in marriage to Satyavan, son of King Dyumat. The prince was endowed with all gracious qualities. He was very honored to marry Savitri and happily took her to his kingdom. 1 year after his marriage, his father sent him to the forest to bring fruits and wood. Behind him went Savitri. As it was destined, Satyavan fell from a tree and died. Yamraj came and took away his subtle body and started for Yampuri. Then Savitri began to follow him. This greatest of hermits and lord of Yampuri saw the beautiful Savitri following him. He spoke to her in kind, gentle tones. Dharmraj said, O Savitri, where are you going with this human body? If your intention is to accompany your husband, you must first renounce this body. Those who live in the mortal world cannot enter my abode with their body which is made of 5 elements. Mortals are only entitled to live in the mortal world. Sadhvi, your husband Satyavan took birth in Bharatvarsh. His lifespan is over and now he has to come to my kingdom to receive the fruits of his actions. It is a person's actions which decide his type of birth and mode of death. Happiness, pain, fear, and sorrow come to a person according to his actions. Some karmas can result in a person even becoming Indra. Meritorious actions can even cause a person to become Brahmaputra. By virtuous actions, a person can attain the lotus feet of Sri Hari and get released from the cycle of birth and death. Auspicious actions can give the fruits of all siddhis, immortality, salvation, and a place in the vicinity of Sri Hari. A man merits, by his action, birth in various yonis, strata like Devata, Manu, Rajendra, Shiva, Ganesh, Munindra, Buddha, Tapasvi, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Mlech, Stavar, immovable, Jangam, movable, Parvat, Rakshas, Kinnar, Adipati, king, Vriksh, plant, Pashu, animal, Kirat, savage, germs, virus, worms, insects, Daitya, Danava, or Asura. According to a person's karmas, he takes birth in any of these yonis or classes which number 84 lakhs. There should be no doubt in this fact. After saying this to Savitri, Dharmraj became silent. Bhagwan Narayan says, Muni, after hearing this, the chaste and faithful wife Savitri began to sing hymns of praise. Then she spoke. Savitri said, Bhagwan, I know nothing. Please be benevolent and tell me what is karma. What are the fruits of actions? Who is the body and who is the soul, Deha and Dehi, and on whose instigation are actions performed? What is Gyan, Buddhi, Pran, and senses, and what are their characteristics? Also, who are the Devatas, the Bhoktas, enjoyers, the Bhojeta Bhoj, communion, action and involvement in action, and Jeev, living creature, and Paramatma. Please tell me about all these things. Dharmraj said, Sadhvi Savitri, actions are of two kinds, Shubh and Ashubh, auspicious and inauspicious. Actions which conform to the statutes of the Vedas are auspicious and have the effect of granting blessings. Those whose actions are contrary and go against the commandments and cause them to go to hell. Those who worship the gods with firm dedication and without any expectations, that form of worship is Karma Nirmul Rupa, the most perfect. This gives utmost bhakti and union. Who is the enjoyer and who is Nirlep, untouched by karmas and dualism? The answer is this. It is promised by Shruti that worship of Brahma gives mukti. Birth, death, old age, sickness, sorrow, and fear, none of these can affect him. Sadhvi, in the Shrutis, bhakti is also divided into two categories, but which are not against each other. One gives nirvana, liberation, and the other gives sarupya, oneness, where there is not the other. Man is entitled to both. Realized souls desire the bhakti which gives sarupya, while yogis with brahmagyan desire nirvana. Action is bij roop, seed, and its nature is to produce fruit. It is none other than the manifestation of Bhagwan Sri Hari and Bhagavati Prakriti. Devi Prakriti is Brahma Swarupa with Maya predominant. Actions are born from her. The spirit does nothing, non-doer. Earth, fire, water, air, and ether are five elements which are the formula which is used by the Creator for creation. The living creature which does the actions is the body which houses the soul. So, he is the one to whom the fruits accrue, and the spirit which pervades the body makes him the enjoyer. So, the experience of joy and sorrow is called bhog. When actions are non actions, I am not the doer, then only there is mukti, no fruits to be experienced. The causal of wisdom and discretion is knowledge. This knowledge or gyan is of many kinds because of the various issues. That Shakti which gives discretion is intelligence. The Shrutis call this Gyan Bij. The various life forms are a manifestation of Vayu. It is through Vayu that Shakti penetrates and permeates the being. That which is foremost among senses, a minute part, Ansh of Paramatma, instigator of doubts and skepticism, which is very difficult to control, formless, invisible, and opposing buddhi, is called the mind. It is associated with the gross body and is the instigator of actions. It guides the senses into situations which cause sorrow and suffering and works as an enemy. Also, it can be a friend by causing one to do actions which give joy. The organs of senses are eyes, nose, ears, skin, and tongue. The gods governing the senses are Surya, Vayu, Prithvi, Brahma, and others. He that takes on a body and soul is endowed with consciousness. He who is beyond Prakriti, who is all pervading, and who is the attributeless Brahma, is called Paramatma. Vatse, whatever you wanted to know, I have told you according to the Shastras. This knowledge is most precious. Now you may return to your home. Savitri said, Prabhu, you are the ocean of knowledge. How can I leave this husband who is dearer than life, and how can I leave your vicinity? Where will I go? Whatever I ask, please keep giving me the answers. Which are the different yonis that a person merits by his karmas? O most revered one, which action merits heaven and which actions merit hell? What must he do to attain mukti and what is the causal for bhakti in a Gurudev? Which action gives the fruit of making one a yogi and which makes him a rogi, sick man? What causes longevity and what causes short lifespan? By which action does man gain happiness and which action gives sorrow? What karmas cause a person to lose his limbs, lose one eye, become deaf, blind, crippled, become insane, mad, and extremely greedy, and a thief? And what are those actions which give siddhis, proximity to God, and mukti? Which actions make a person realized and which make him a tapasvi? What actions have the effect of making one a Brahmin and what actions make him a tapasvi? What actions bear the fruit of heaven? Which actions give him a place in Vaikunt? Golok is the best of all lokas. Which actions merit a place in Golok? How many kinds of hells are there? How many do they number? Who is sent to which hell and what is the time he must spend there? What karmas cause disease? Bhagwan, please be compassionate and give answers to all my questions. Chapter 9, Episode 29. Dharmraj answers Savitri, gives her a boon. Bhagwan Narayan says, Narad, Dharmraj was greatly amazed at the questions asked by Savitri. He laughed and settled down to tell her about karmas and their fruits. Dharmraj said, Vatse, you are but a very young girl and yet you have more wisdom and knowledge than yogis and other learned men. Daughter, your birth was due to a blessing from Devi Savitri. You are her creation. Your father performed tapasya to receive this boon of a daughter. In the same way that the goddesses enjoy Saubhagyavati status, Lakshmi with Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhavani with Bhagwan Shankar, Aditi with Kashyap, Ahalya with Gautam, Shachi with Indra, Rohini with Chandrama, Rati with Kamdev, Swaha with Agni, Swada with the ancestors, Sandhya with Surya, Varunani with Varun, Dakshina with Yagya, Prithvi with Varaha, and Saubhagyavati with Devsena Kartikeya. I bless you that you also become the beloved of Satyavan. This is my boon to you. Mahabhage, in addition to this, if there is something you desire with all your heart, tell me. I am prepared to grant it to you. Savitri said, Mahabhag, may I become the mother of 100 sons of Satyavan? This is my dearest wish. Also, may my father beget 100 sons, may my father-in-law regain his lost sight and get back his kingdom. I also desire to live a long time with Satyavan and finally go to the abode of Sri Hari. Be pleased to grant me all these boons. Prabhu, I am very eager to know about the consequences of actions and how to become free from worldly bonds. Dharmraj said, Mahasadhvi, all your desires will be fulfilled. Now I will tell you about karmas and fruits. Listen carefully. Due to good and bad deeds, a person gets birth in Bharatvarsh. This is Punya Kshetra, holy place. O virtuous wife, Devatas, Daityas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and humans, they all come under the rule of Karmafal, fruits of action. Only Pashus, animals under the Pasha of God, are not answerable for their actions. According to actions, a person takes birth in any of these yonis. The reward and punishment for good and bad deeds is heaven and hell. According to the deeds of the previous life, they get good or bad fruits. Good deeds take one to heaven and bad deeds cause one to roam in hell. When the karmas cease, non-doer, then bhakti is born in the heart. Sadhvi, bhakti is of two kinds, nirguna, attributeless, and the other is that which one has for Maya Vishisht, Brahmaswarupini Bhagavati Prakriti. The bad deeds of a previous life make one a sick person and good deeds make him healthy. Also, according to the actions, he either enjoys long life or dies young, is either happy or sad, is blind or crippled. Virtuous deeds of a previous life give siddhis in the next. Devi, now listen to something very important. This rare and precious knowledge is given in the Puranas and Shastras. This should not be told to any and everyone. For all the classes, it is extremely difficult to merit a birth in Bharatvarsh. Of all the classes of people, a Brahmin is the highest. He is the one who has felt the Brahma on his central nervous system. He is the one who has reverence and veneration for Brahma. Brahmins are of two kinds, Sakami, actions done for reward, and Nishkami, free from any wish. The Sakami Brahmin who performs actions for rewards gets fame, honor, and glory on this earth. The Nishkami Brahmin becomes a Bhakta of the Supreme God. The Sakami becomes involved in enjoying the fruits. The Nishkami Brahman, untouched by obstacles or bhadas, spends all his time in devotion and singing praises of God. Sadhvi, such a Brahmin renounces his body and becomes entitled to a place at the lotus feet of God. Such a Nishkami, non-doer, does not come under the cycle of birth and rebirth. The two-armed Bhagwan Sri Krishna is Purna Brahma Parameshwar. Those who worship him finally assume a divine body and go to Golok. The Sakami person goes to Vaishnavlok for the time due to him and then takes a rebirth in Bharatvarsh in the family of realized souls. Gradually, they become Nishkam and by my grace they attain Nirmal Bhakti. One thing is certain, that many Sakam Brahmins and Vaishnavas do not succeed in getting Nirmal Vidya. Sadhvi, those who reside in holy places and are constantly in tapasya, they go to Brahmalok. Then again, they take birth in Bharatvarsh. Those who live in other places and still do their duty to attain spiritually, they go to Satyalok after death. Then they get reborn in Bharatvarsh. The sun worshippers go to Suryalok and then return to Bharatvarsh. Those holy souls who worship Mool Prakriti Bhagavati Jagdamba, they go to the most holy Manidweep. They get released from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Those who worship Shiva, Shakti, and Ganapati go to the abode of the gods. Then they take a rebirth in Bharatvarsh. Sadhvi, those Brahmins who worship the other gods get sent to other divine lokas, and when their tenure ends, they take birth in Bharatvarsh. Those who worship Bhagwan Sri Hari by their unswerving devotion and Nishkam, non-doer performance, get a place in the abode of Bhagwan Sri Hari. Those who do not live by the dharmas, such irreligious and immoral beings, will most certainly go to hell. In all the four classes, those who are resolved in their spiritual ascent and perform good actions get good fruits as rewards. Those who do not perform religious duties and good deeds will definitely go to hell, and when they take a rebirth, it is never in Bharatvarsh. Therefore, it is extremely important for all four classes of human beings to live a dharmic life. Dharmic Brahmins who give their daughters in marriage to dharmic young men merit as fruits entry into Chandralok. Sadhvi, if the girl is adorned and given away as a gift, then the fruit is doubled. If they perform this action as a non-doer, then they reach the Paramdham of Bhagwan Sri Vishnu. Generous and pious men who give to Brahmins gifts of milk, silver, gold, clothes, ghee, fruits and water go straight to Chandralok. They can live there happily for a period of one manvantar. By virtue of their charitable act, they get this fruit. Pativrate, those who give holy Brahmins gifts of cows, gold, copper, and other valuable items go to Suryalok. They become pure and can live in Suryalok for a long time. He who gives to Brahmins gifts of land and other costly things goes to the pure and holy abode of Bhagwan Sri Vishnu and stays there for a long time. Those who donate houses to Brahmins also gain entry to Vishnulok and stay there for the same number of years as there are grains of sand in the building. The man who does acts of charity to please a particular deity, when he dies, he goes to the abode of that god. Instead of giving charity in his house, if a person goes and gives charity at a palace, he gets 4 times the reward. In a Tirth holy place, he gets 100 times, and from any other holy place, he gets double the reward. That is the promise of Brahmadeva. He who donates a lake with the purpose of getting released from his sins goes to Janlok, one of the 7 divisions of the universe, for as many years as there are dust particles. He who donates a well gets 10 times the reward. The prescribed measurements of a lake are 4,000 dhanush. One dhanush is 4 hands long and the same width. Anything less than this is called a vapi tank. The person who gives his daughter in marriage to a virtuous and dharmic man merits the rewards of donating 10 tanks. If he adorns his daughter with ornaments, then the fruits get doubled. He who undertakes the repairs of a lake gets the same merits as one who donates it. The person who cleans and dredges a tank gets the same fruit as one who donates it. O virtuous one, the man who plants a peepal sapling, holy fig tree, and nurtures it into a tree goes to Vishnulok for thousands of years. The person who donates a garden for all to use goes to Dhruvlok for 10,000 years. One who donates a conveyance to please Vishnu goes to Vishnulok for one Manvantar. If the vehicle is decorated and spacious, then the reward is fourfold. He who donates a palanquin gets half of the fruits. He who donates a temple to please Bhagwan Srihari goes to Vishnulok for a very long time. He who builds a road up to Rajbhavan, the royal palace, merits a place in Indralok for 1,000 years. The fruits are the same for offering gifts to Brahmins and to the gods. Only when good deeds are performed in the previous life, one gets the fruit in the present life. If no good deeds were done, how can any fruits result? The man who does punyas enjoys the fruit and then again takes birth in Bharatvarsh. He has the good fortune to be born in a Brahmin family. A good Brahmin also gets reborn in a Brahmin family. The same rule applies to Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also. By their pious works, they merit a birth in a Brahmin family. This can be heard in the Shrutis. No matter how much time elapses, a person has to receive or make payment for his actions. Time does not decrease the calculation. With the help of the gods and the holy places of pilgrimage, a person can cleanse himself. Sadhvi, whatever you have asked, I have explained. Now, what else do you wish to know? Chapter 9, Episodes 30 and 31. Further questions from Savitri and answers from Dharmraj. Savitri said, Dharmraj, please tell me the various actions which send a person to heaven or to some other lokas. Dharmraj said, Pativrate, he who gives gifts of grains to a god or a Brahmin, he merits as to Shiva Lok and enjoys his stay there for that many years as there are grains in the gift. There is no greater gift of charity than Annadhan, and there will be never in the future. There is no formality of time, place, or procedure for this. Sadhvi, if one gives an asan, throne, as a gift to a god or a Brahmin, he merits a place in Vishnulok for thousands of years. The one who gives milch cows as gifts to Brahmins goes to Golok for as many years as the cow has pores in its skin. This Godan, if done on a festival day, gives 4 times the reward, in a place of pilgrimage, 100-fold reward, and in the holy Narayan Kshetra, it gives countless rewards. A man of Bharatvarsh, if he donates with great devotion cows to a Brahmin, he becomes entitled to a place in Chandralok. He who presents a clean, white umbrella to a Brahmin goes to Varunlok for thousands of years. He who gives clothes to a Brahmin in distress goes to Vayulok for 10,000 years. If one gives a shalgram and clothes to a Brahmin, he goes to Vaikunt for a very long time. He who gives a silken shaya couch to a Brahmin goes to Chandralok for many years. He who offers lamps to the gods and Brahmins shares the throne of Indra for as long as Indra lives. The Bharatvarshi who presents a horse to a Brahmin enjoys a place in Varunlok. Also, he who gives a palanquin. He who gives a garden to a Brahmin gets a place in Vayulok. The one who gives to a Brahmin a fan and a white whisk is honored in Vayulok. The person who gives away wealth and jewels is blessed with wisdom and long life. The giver and the receiver both go to the Vaikunt Lok. He who is born in Bharatvarsh and continuously sings praises of Bhagwan Sri Hari, the very sight of that person makes death run away. The person who hosts the Dolotsav, a festival of swinging observed on the full moon day of Falgun, gets mukti. The same fruit is merited by celebrating Uttara Falguni. The Bharatvarshi who gives till sesame seeds to Brahmins receives honor in Shiv Dham. If the till is put in a copper vessel and offered, then the fruit is doubled and he takes birth in a spiritually evolved family. He who gives his chaste daughter in marriage, duly decorated with ornaments and clothes, to a Brahmin, he goes to Chandralok for many years. Later, he goes to Gandharvlok and enjoys great happiness. Then, in every birth, for 1,000 births, he gets for a wife a chaste, pleasing, obedient, and sweet voiced woman. The one who gives a Brahmin sweet, ripe fruits goes to Indralok. Then he takes birth in a spiritually evolved family and has obedient sons. The one who gives fruit bearing trees as gifts receives 1,000 times these merits. He lives in heaven for many years and then takes birth in Bharatvarsh. The one who lives in Bharatvarsh and gives as gifts to Brahmins big houses with rich furnishings lives for many years in heaven among the gods. Then he takes birth in a highly evolved spiritual family and becomes wealthy. The Punyatma Bharatvarshi who gives green fields full of crops to Brahmins most definitely gains a place in Vaikunt. So also the person who gives a cowshed full of cows or a village to Brahmins also goes to Vaikunt. The man who owns faithful servants, flourishing ripe fields with lakes full of water and gardens full of fruit bearing trees and flowering plants and creepers, and then gives them all away to Brahmins, gets a place in Kailash for many years. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes a king. He rules over lakhs of towns and villages. There is no doubt in this. All the wealth and honor and auspiciousness surround him. One who gives 100 flourishing or medium villages, complete with lakes, ponds, and trees, goes to Vaikunt. Then he presides over Swarglok in royal surroundings like Indra. Then, for 10 million births, he comes as an emperor on Prithvi. The one who surrenders all his possessions to Brahmins gets these blessings fourfold. There is no doubt in this. Those who give Jambudvip, one of the 7 divisions of the universe, to Brahmins, those who live in holy places of pilgrimage, those who are accomplished in siddhis, and all those who worship Bhagavati Jagadamba, they get release and never have to take birth again. They witness the coming and going of countless Brahmas, but they remain permanently in Manidweep in the vicinity of Bhagavati Jagadamba. Those who worship Bhagavati Jagdamba with her mantras, when they renounce their human body, They assume a divine form which is majestic and glorious and beyond birth, death, old age, and disease. They spend all their days in Manidweep in the service of Bhagavati Jagadamba. The gods, the siddhas, and the whole world gets destroyed according to time, but Devi Bhaktas are eternal. Nothing can touch them. The person who offers tulsi to Sri Hari during the month of Kartik goes to the abode of the Lord for 3 yugas. Then he takes birth in a spiritually evolved family and remains a devotee of Bhagwan Sri Hari. He lives in Bharatvarsh and is counted among the highly disciplined who have conquered their senses. The person who baths in the waters of Ganga before sunrise can enjoy the vibrations in the temple of Bhagwan Sri Hari. Then he takes birth in a highly evolved family and spends his days praising Sri Hari by chanting mantras. Then he renounces his human body and goes to Bhagwan Dham and does not take a birth again. He takes on a divine body and spends all his time in the service of the Lord. The person who always baths in the Ganga is considered as holy as the sun. At every step he gets the blessings of Ashwamedha Yagya. The earth gets purified by the dust of his feet. He enjoys a place in Vaikunt and is considered released from the bondage of birth and rebirth. He is held in high respect by all tapasvis. The man of Bharatvarsh who donates fragrant water gets entry into Kailash for many days. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes a Shiv Bhakt and a scholar of the Vedas and scriptures. The one who gives Satu, chana powder to Brahmins in the month of Vaishak gains entry into the temple of Shiva. The one who lives in Bharatvarsh and observes the fast of Krishna Janmashtami, birth of Sri Krishna, gets freed from the sins of 100 lifetimes. There is no doubt in this. He stays in Vaikunt for many years. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes a devotee of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. In this same Bharatvarsh, the one who observes Shivratri goes to Shivlok for a very long time. The one who worships Bhagwan Shankar by offering Bilva Patra lives in Kailash for many yugas. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes a devotee of Bhagwan Shiva. He gets wisdom, wealth, sons, faithful servants, and land. The one who worships Shankar during the month of Chaitra and Magh, and who holds a cane and dances in the name of the Lord, whether for a full month, a half month, 10 days, 1 week, 2 days, or even 1 day, gains entry into the abode of Bhagwan Shiva. Sadhvi, the one who worships Bhagavati in Sharad Kal, autumn, and celebrates by singing, dancing, music, and other festivities, that person goes straight to Shivlok. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes king of kings. He gets blessed with Nirmal Buddhi, enormous wealth, good sons and grandsons, elephants, horses, and other conveyances. There is no doubt in this. The one who lives in the holy land of Bharatvarsh and performs Mahalakshmi Puja during Shukla Ashtami, bright half of a lunar month, who offers 16 kinds of precious ingredients, he becomes entitled to live in Golok. In Bharatvarsh, it is the custom to celebrate Ras Mandal during Kartik Purnima. On that day, stone images of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna are anointed with 16 kinds of fragrant ingredients and worshipped. The one who hosts this puja goes to Golok and becomes a great bhakta of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. He assumes the form of Sri Krishna and becomes his foremost courtier. He conquers death and never takes a rebirth. The man who observes the fast of Shukla and Krishna Paksh, bright and dark fortnights, Ekadashi, he gets entitled to stay in Vaikunth. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and becomes a devotee of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, and his devotion grows and grows. After he renounces his body, he goes to Golok, assumes a form of Sri Krishna, and becomes a courtier. He does not return to earth. The one who performs puja to Indra on the Dwadashi day of Shukla Paksh, 12th day of the bright fortnight, in the month of Bhadrapad, receives honor and respect. The one who worships the sun on a Sunday of Sankranti on the 7th day of the bright fortnight and eats the sacrificial food, he gets a place in the abode of Surya. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh as a wealthy man, free from all illness and disease. The one who does puja to goddess Savitri on the Krishna Chaturdasi, 14th day of the dark fortnight in the month of Jesht, he goes to Brahmalok. Then he takes birth as a wealthy and famous man. He also has a long life, is full of wisdom, and is glorious. During the month of Magh, 11th month, on the 5th day of the bright fortnight, he who performs a puja complete with 16 methods of worship to Bhagavati Saraswati, he is assured of a place in Manidweep. He who lives in Bharatvarsh and regularly makes gifts of cows and gold to Brahmins, he enjoys the blessings of Vaikunth. The one who lives in Bharatvarsh and gives sweets to Brahmins goes to Vishnulok. The Bharatvasi who worships Bhagwan Sri Hari and makes others also worship him, he is entitled to stay in Vaikunth for one full yuga. If the holy names of the Lord are uttered in the sacred Narayan Kshetra, then the fruits are increased to crores of times. In the sacred place dedicated to Narayan, if one utters the holy names of Bhagwan Sri Hari 1 crore times, then he gets released from all the sins and gets mukti. This is the absolute truth. He never takes another birth and lives forever in Vaikunth. He assumes a divine form. He can never fall. His nature becomes bhakti. The one who makes an earthen image of the Shivaling and worships it every day of his life, he goes to the abode of Bhagwan Shiva and lies in Shivalok for a very long time. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh and decorates a royal throne. He who daily worships the Shalgram with Panchamrit and drinks it goes to Vaikunth for a long time. He attains the bhakti which is unavailable to the common man. He gets freed from the cycle of rebirth. The one who does tapasya and observes all the renunciations gets the fruit of living in Vaikunth. He does not take a birth again. The one who baths in all the holy places and does perambulation of Prithvi attains nirvana. He does not take birth again. The one who lives in the holy land of Bharat and performs Ashwamedha Yagya is entitled to sit on half of Indra's throne. The one who performs Rajasuya Yagya gets 4 times this fruit. Of all the yagyas, the paramount one is Yagya of Bhagavati. From the beginning of time, Brahma and Vishnu have been worshipping the Devi. Before killing Tripurasur, the great Bhagwan Shankar prayed to the Devi for Shakti. O Sundari, among all the Devi Yagyas, the Yagya to Devi Bhuvaneshwari is the most important. There is none equal to it in all the 3 lokas. O faithful one, it happened a long time ago. There was a difference of opinion between Daksh Prajapati and Bhagwan Shankar. In that situation, Daksh Prajapati offered puja and worshipped Bhagwati Jagdamba. The Brahmins, in their fury, pronounced a curse upon Nandi. In retaliation, Bhagwan Shankar demolished the yagya of Daksh. Then Daksh started the Devi Yagya and got completely involved in it. The Yagya of Bhagwati Bhuvaneshwari has already been performed in the past of Dharam, Kashyap, Seshnag, Kardam Muni, Swayambhuv Manu, his son Priyavrat, Shiv, Sanat Kumar, Kapil and Dhruv. The one who does this Devi Yagya gets the fruits of thousands of Rajasuya Yagyas. A Devi Bhakt lives for more than 100 years and in the end gets moksha. There is no doubt in this. Brahmini, just as Vishnu is the principal god, Narad is the most superior of Vaishnavas, of all the Shastras the Vedas, of all the castes the Brahmins, the best of all Tirthanas the Ganga, among the Punyatmas Shiva, among austerities Ekadasha, out of all flowers Tulasi, among the nakshatras the moon, among the birds Garud, the most superior among women Mool Prakriti Bhagwati Radha, Saraswati and Vasundhara, among all the senses the mind, of all the Prajapatis Brahma, the grandest in the kingdom a king, among all gardens the best is Brindavan, among all continents the most auspicious Bharatvarsh, among the glorious and splendid Lakshmi, among the learned Saraswati, among Pativrata's faithful wives Bhagwati Durga, and Saubhagyavati among Sri Krishna's wives Sri Radha. In the same way, the most superior of all yagyas is the Devi Yagya. After bathing in all the holy places, after performing all yagyas, after observing all fasts and austerities, after reading all the Vedas, and after perambulation of Prithvi, the fruits that one gets is this, that one gets the privilege of performing Devi Yagya and attains moksha. In all the Purans, in all the Vedas, and in historical scriptures, the worship of Charan Kamal, lotus feet of Bhagwati Jagadamba, is considered supremely paramount. Description of the great goddess, meditation upon her lotus feet, uttering of her holy names and divine qualities, singing of stotras, obeisance, reciting of mantras, sipping of charan amrit, partaking of prasad, should be the constant occupation of the universe. Sadhvi, this is the pure desire. Vatse, now you meditate on and worship the Mool Prakriti Nirgun Parabrahma. I will give you back your husband. Take him home and live happily. I have just told you all the fruits that one receives from auspicious actions. This is the highest truth, all encompassing, and the giver of Tattvagyan, knowledge of the essences. Bhagwan Narayan says, Narad, hearing all this from Dharmraj, Savitri's eyes filled with tears of joy and gratitude. She was overwhelmed with vibrations. She spoke, Dharmraj, O foremost knower of the Vedas, I am ignorant. Please tell me the procedure for worshipping Bhagwati Bhuvaneshwari. Bhagwan, you have told me the rewards that human beings get for their good and auspicious deeds. Now please tell me what befalls those who commit evil deeds. Brahman, Sati Savitri offered obeisance to Dharmraj and began to sing stutis. Savitri said, it happened in ancient times that Mahabhag Surya performed tapasya in Pushkar and worshipped Dharmraj. Then Dharm offered himself as a son to Surya. I worship that dharma. The one who moves among the spirits, who is the witness, and who grants Shaman, forgiveness, I worship that Bhagwan Shaman. The one who causes the end of living things on earth, I worship that Bhagwan Antak. I offer obeisance to that Bhagwan Dandadhar who uses the pole of chastisement to correct human beings and maintain the laws that he makes. I offer obeisance to that Bhagwan Kal who grants time to all living beings and who is unfathomable. I worship that Bhagwan Yama who computes the karma phal of all beings. I offer obeisance to Punya Mitra, that form of Bhagwan Dharmraj who enjoys his own Atma, who is complete knowledge, who is a friend for holy souls, and who is doom for sinners. I offer pranams to Bhagwan Dharmraj in his form of Ish, who was born from Brahma and who always glows with the lustre and effulgence of Brahma. Muni, this Savitri offered pranams to Dharmraj. Then Dharmraj taught her the mantra of Bhagavati Mool Prakriti. Whoever gets up early in the morning and recites Yama Ashtak, he gets rid of the fear of Yamraj and he gets liberated from his sins. Even if a great sinner does this Yama Ashtak, he is cleansed by the strategy of Dharmraj. Chapter 9, Episodes 32 to 35. Description of Hell, Enumeration of Sins. Bhagwan Narayan says, Narad, Ravinandan Dharmraj taught Savitri the Maha Mantra of Mool Prakriti Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari and the protocol and procedure for worship. Then he began to enumerate the sins and their consequences. Dharmraj said, Pativrati, a man can never go to hell as a result of good actions. The causes for going to hell are evil and inauspicious deeds. I will describe them to you. Listen. The different kinds of heaven are described in the Purans, and according to his good deeds, a person is sent to any of them. No being desires to go to hell, but their wicked actions become the cause of taking them to hell. There are various pits in hell. Their purpose is to carry out punishments. These pits are fearful and horrible. There are innumerable pits, of which 86 are most frightening. They are Vanhi Kund, Tapt Kund, Huge Shar Kund, Vit Kund, Mutra Kund, Shleshma Kund, Venomous Gar Kund, Dushika Kund, Vasa Kund, Shukra Kund, Asrik Kund, Ashru Kund, Gatramal Kund, Karna Kund, Mavit Kund, Mas Kund, Nakra Kund, Lom Kund, Kesh Kund, Ashti Kund, Tamra Kund, Anguish-filled Loh Kund, Charma Kund, Taptasura Kund, Tikshan Kantak Kund, the expansive Vish Kund, Tailpratapt Kund, Kund Kund, Krimi Kund, Puya Kund, Sarpa Kund, Mashak Kund, Dansh Kund, the poisonous Garal Kund. O you who observe all the holy vows, there is a kund full of ferocious animals with sword-like teeth, Sharkund, Shulakund, Khadgakund, Golkund, Nakrakund, Kakkund, Mantankund, Bijkund, Vajrakund, Pashankund, Lalakund, Masikund, Churnakund, Chakrakund, Vakrakund, Karmakund, the intolerable Jwalakund, Basmakund, Dagdakund, Taptasuchi Kund, Asipatra Kund, Kshurdhar Kund, Suchimuk Kund, Nakramuk Kund, Gokamuk Kund, Gajdansh Kund, Gomukh Kund, Kumbipak, Kalasutra, Matsyod, Krimikund, Panshubhojya, Pashvesht, Sholproti, Prakampan, Ulkamuk, Andakoop, Vedhan and Tandan, Jwalarandhra, Dehachurn, Dhalan, Shoshanak, Shurpajwalamukh, Dhumand and Nagveshtan Kund. Savitri, all these are for giving punishment for sins. 10 lakh attendants are in charge and each carries a pole, sword and mace. They are always angry and show no mercy. No one can stop them or put obstacles in their way. Their eyes are the color of copper. They are endowed with yoga and are fearless warriors. At the time of death, they are visible to the sinner. They do not go near those who worship Devi, Surya and Ganapati, nor do they go near the virtuous and Punyatmas. They are never seen by those who live a dharmic life, those who have a large and loving heart, those who are free from worldly attachments, and those who have seen God in their dreams. Sadhvi, I have named the different kinds of hell. Now I will tell you which sins merit which hell. Listen. Those punyatmas, yogis, siddhis, vratis, tapasvis, and brahmacharis, detached souls who worship Bhagwan Sri Hari never go to hell. This is the absolute truth. The strong man who gets into ego and aggresses his relations and friends, he goes to a fiery hell called Agnikund and suffers for as many years as he has pores in his body. Then he takes birth 3 times in Pashu Yoni, animal class. The foolish man who refuses to give food and water to tired and hungry Brahmins who come to his house goes to Taptakund, boiling water. After that, he takes birth 7 times in Pakshi Yoni, bird class. The one who washes his clothes in soda on Sundays, Sankranti, Amavasya or Shraddh days goes to Ksharakund, pit of soda and corrosive substances. The degenerate and contemptible man who insults and does not respect Mool Prakriti Bhagavati Jagadamba, the Vedas, Shastras, Purans, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Gauri, Saraswati, and other gods goes into a pit of endless sufferings. There is no pit which is worse than this one. After suffering there for ages, they get birth in the reptile class as snakes. He who snatches the livelihood of another goes into a hell called Vitkund, excreta. Then he gets birth as a worm in the dung heap. The one who usurps the pond of another or answers nature's call in the pond goes to a hell filled with urine. He later takes birth as an ox. The one who selfishly consumes all the sweets of prasad goes to a pit filled with flame. Then he roams the earth as a goblin. The one who does not provide food for mother, father, guru, wife, sons, daughters, and orphans goes to a hell called Gharal, poison. Then he goes to the Booth Yoni. The inhospitable man who glares with anger at guests who come to his house, The water and oblations offered by him are unacceptable to the ancestors as well as the gods. The one who commits Brahma Hatya or its equivalent goes to a hell called Dushika Kund, corrupted and contaminated substances. Then, after spending time in Bhut Yoni, he gets reprieve. After giving a gift to a Brahmin, if one takes it back and gives it to another, then he goes to Vasakund, Greece, and Marrow. Then, for 7 births, he lives as a chameleon. A man or woman having illicit relations with another goes to Shukrakund, semen. Then he is born as a worm. After that, he gets purified. The one who sheds the blood of his guru or of a Brahmin goes to Asrik Kund, surgical. There he has to drink blood. Then for 7 births, he lives as a tiger. After that, he gets a human birth. The one who experiences grief and tears of melancholia when he sees Bhaktas singing the praises of Bhagwati, or who ridicules and laughs when songs of praise are sung to Bhagwan Sri Krishna, he goes for 100 years to a hell called Ashrukund, tears. After that, he takes birth 3 times in Chandal Yoni. Then he becomes eligible for human birth. A man who deceives his friend goes to a hell called Gatra Malkund, body secretions. Then he takes birth 3 times as a donkey. The one who ridicules or laughs at a deaf person goes to a hell called Karnavit, wax from the ears. Then he is born into poverty and wretchedness. He is also born deaf. For personal gain and for accumulating wealth, if one kills living things, he goes to a hell called Majja Kund, marrow. After this, he is born as a rabbit. Then he takes birth 7 times as a fish, 3 births as a pig, and 7 births as a cock. Then, according to his deeds, he gets a birth as a deer. Only after that, he gets a human birth. The one who sells his own daughter, that greedy and despicable man, goes to a hell called Manskund, flesh. My attendants beat him with rods. He has to bear loads of flesh and blood on his head. Later, he is born as a worm in the dirtiest places. He takes birth 7 times as an executioner, then 3 births as a pig, and 7 births as a fowl. Then he takes birth as a frog, a leech, and a crow. Only then he gets purified to take a human birth again. The one who has a tonsure, head shave, done during Shraddh, fasts, or other occasions of austerity is considered unclean and impure for any ceremonies. He goes to a pit called Nakkund, claws and nails and talons. The one who goes to a tirth called Vishnupad and does not offer obsequies for his forefathers goes to a hell called Astikund, ashes. In his next birth, he is born lame. He suffers great misfortune and ill luck. The man who demands relations with his pregnant wife goes to a burning hell called Tamrakund, molten copper. He who touches hides and skins and then tries to do puja without washing and bathing goes to a hell called Charmakund, hide and skin. The Brahmin who goes uninvited to a Shudra's house and eats food goes to a hell called Taptasur, boiling water. The one who uses harsh and cruel language and causes emotional upsetting goes to a hell called Tikshan Kantak, sharp thorns and needles. My attendants beat him with rods. The heartless man who gives poison and kills another suffers for 1,000 years in a hell called Vishkund poison. Then, for 7 births, he becomes an executioner, and for 7 births, he suffers from leprosy. After that, he is cleansed. The one who is fortunate to be born in the holy land of Bharatvarsh, who is a farmer and beats the bulls and makes his servant kill the bull, he goes to a pit called Tapt Tel, boiling oil. Then he takes birth as a bull for as many years as there are pores on the skin of the bull. The cruel and merciless man who kills a living being with a spear or a red hot iron goes for many yugas to a hell called Kunt Kund, spears and daggers. Then he takes birth as a human and constantly suffers stomach problems. The one who eats before offering the food to his deity, he goes to a hell called Krimi Kund, worms. Then he is born as a mlech of low birth with inclination to sin for 3 births. He who kills a snake goes to Sarpkund, serpents. Then he takes a human birth with a very short lifespan. He suffers from eczema and other skin ailments. He who punishes an innocent person or a Brahmin goes to a hell called Vajradanstra, which is full of biting and stinging insects. Then he is born 7 times as a pig and 3 times as a crow. The avaricious man who troubles his subjects for the sake of money goes to a hell called Vrikshikund. Then for 7 births he is born as a scorpion. After that he is born as a human but without limbs and full of disease. The Brahmin who becomes very busy doing the work of others and neglects his sandhya and other religious activities goes to the hell called Shar, Shul and Khadga. His body is constantly pierced by arrows, spears and darts. The proud man, blinded by power and ego, who throws people into dark dungeons and kills them, is thrown into hell called Golkund. That is a most fearful hell. It is dark and full of boiling water. Sharp fanged insects keep biting them. He suffers horrible pangs. Then, when he gets a human birth, he comes as a slave of his subjects. Those who kill marine animals for sport or profit go to a hell called Nakrakund, alligators and crocodiles. He who has a good fortune to be born in Bharatvarsh, if he casts adulterous eyes on women and their bodies, goes to a hell called Kak Kund, crows. The dull and ignorant person who steals gold from temples and Brahmins is thrown into a hell called Mantan Kund. There, my attendants blindfold him and beat him with rods. After that, for 3 births he is born blind, and for 7 births a wretched and unfortunate human being. Devi, those who steal iron and copper go to a hell called Beach Kund, germs. After the privilege of being born in Bharatvarsh, if a man steals idols and articles of worship, he goes to a hell called Vajrakund and his body is pierced with sharp spears. He who steals from gods and Brahmins items like silver and gold, their dairy items like milk and curds, their pet parrots, goes to a hell called Taptashan, boiling water. Then for 3 births he comes as an earthworm, then for 3 births as a tortoise. Then for 3 births he is afflicted with leucoderma, 1 birth leprosy. Then he is born as a bird and then as a human being with a short lifespan. He suffers continuously from diseases of the blood and colon in the abdomen. He who steals from the gods and the Brahmins brass, bell metal, and bronze articles, goes to a hell called Tikshan Pashan Kund, sharp stones and flint, and lives there for as many years as he has pores in his skin. The one who eats food from a person who earns money from prostitution goes to a hell called Lalakund, sputum. Then he takes human birth but always suffers from eye diseases, colic, and rheumatism. Sadhvi, he who steals from the gods or Brahmins, their fields filled with crops, betel leaves, seat, or couch, goes to a hell called Churnakund, powdered and pulverized substances. The one who steals from a Brahmin, his chakra or his wealth, goes to a hell called Chakrakund. He is beaten with rods. The one who is cruel to cows and Brahmins goes for a very long time to a hell called Vakrakund. When he takes birth, his body is crooked and he is limbless for 7 births. He is always surrounded by misfortune. The one who steals ghee and oil is thrown into a hell called Jwala Kund and then into Bhasma Kund. The person who steals fragrant oils, amla, and other perfumed substances burns day and night in a hell called Dagda Kund, scorching heat. Sadhvi, the powerful person who uses fraud and deception to cheat one out of his ancestral property or even kills him and snatches away the inherited property, is thrown into a hell called Tabda Suchi, burning. His body burns continuously as if immersed in boiling oil, but the body does not get destroyed. Then he is born as a worm in the sewage. Then he is born as an unfortunate man without any land or property. Sadhvi, he who is extremely cruel and merciless and kills with a sword for the sake of wealth, goes to a hell called Asipatra, cutting edge of a sword. My attendants keep cutting his limbs with sharp swords. When he cries out in hunger, they beat him again and again. Then for 7 births, he is born as a carnivorous animal like boar, cock, jackal, lion, and tiger. Then for 3 births, he is born as a wolf, and for 7 births, a frog. Then he takes birth in Bharatvarsh as a buffalo bull. O faithful one, the one who commits arson, sets fire in villages and cities, merits a hell called Kshurdhar, keen, sharp point. He suffers there for 3 yugas, and my Yamdoots keep slashing and cutting his body. Then he enters the strata of prets, evil spirits, and roams about with fire coming out of his mouth. Then for 7 births, he is born as a scavenger, feeding on sewage, pigeon, a sufferer of colic and rheumatism and leprosy. The one who criticizes others, who enjoys listening to gossip about others, and who speaks against gods and Brahmins, he gets thrown into a hell called Suchi Mukh, needle, for 3 yugas. There all his limbs are pierced with needles. Then for 7 births, he roams about as a scorpion, snake, and fiery insect. The one who breaks a hole and enters a household and commits burglary, and who steals cows, goats, and sheep, goes to a hell called Gokamukh, thorns, and gets beaten up by my attendants for 3 yugas. The ordinary thief goes to a hell called Nakramukh, sting, and there he suffers beating from my attendants. Then he gets cleansed. The one who kills elephants, horses, and cows, and who cuts down trees, this most sinful man goes to a hell called Gachdansh, tusk, for a very long time. My attendants beat him with the same elephant tusks. Then for 3 births each, he comes as an elephant, a horse, a cow, and a mlech, one who has sinful tendencies. The one who disturbs a thirsty cow and prevents it from drinking water, he goes to a hell called Gomukh. This is full of boiling water and all kinds of insects and worms. He burns there continuously. Then he takes a human birth full of misfortune and chronic ailments. He who misinterprets the Shastras to suit his convenience and murders cows, Brahmins, women, beggars, and pregnant women, and who has relations with women of low morals, that despicable man goes to a hell called Kumbhipak, crocodiles, and venomous snakes. My attendants continuously beat him to shreds. He keeps falling into different pits containing blazing fire, thorns, burning oil, red hot iron, and molten copper. Then he takes birth as a pig, vulture, and crow and snake. Then he is born as a worm in sewage, an ox, and a human with leprosy. Misfortune never leaves him. Sadhvi, the one who differentiates between Sri Krishna and his image, other gods and their forms, Shiva and Shivalingam, and Surya and Suryakant Mani, gemstone, is guilty of the crime equivalent to Brahma Hatya, murder of a Brahmin. The same crime is attributed to one who differentiates between Guru, Ishtadevata, and Mother. Similarly, the one who differentiates between Vishnu Bhaktas and other Deva Bhaktas and between Brahmins and Brahmanetras, Shalgram, is also guilty of Brahma Hatya. The water in which a Brahmin's feet are washed and the water in which a Shalgram is washed are both holy. The one who differentiates is guilty of Brahma Hatya. The one who differentiates between the Naivedya of Bhagwan Shiva and Bhagwan Srihari is also guilty of Brahma Hatya. The all-encompassing Bhagwan Sri Krishna is Sarveshwar Ishwar. He is the causal of all the causes. He is the Almighty, Supreme Being who pervades the internal parts of the universe, Antaryami, and is worshipped by all. He has innumerable forms which are Mayamay, elusive. Verily, he is Nirgun Brahma. The one who differentiates between him and Bhagwan Shankar commits the same sin as one who does Brahma Hatya. The one who worships Bhagavati but is hostile and indifferent to her Shastras is also guilty of the crime of Brahma Hatya. The one who renounces the pujas prescribed in the Vedas and performs unholy deeds is guilty of Brahma Hatya. The one who does not acknowledge Bhagwan Hrishikesh, who is the most supreme being, who does not offer puja to that beloved deity Bhagwan Sri Hari, is guilty of the sin of Brahma Hatya. Because all the gods are part and parcel of Brahma Swarupini, Mool Prakriti Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari. She is the Mahadevi, the universal divine mother. She is to be worshipped continuously and by all. The one who disrespects the causal of all causes, Bhagavati Jagdamba, is guilty of Brahma Hatya. The celebration of Sri Krishna, Janmashtami, Ram Navami, Ekadashi, Shivaratri and Sundays grant great punyas. Those who do not observe these days are considered lower than Chandals and are guilty of Brahma Hatya. The man who is born in Bharatvarsh and who digs and disturbs the earth during Ardhra Nakshatra, 6th lunar mansion, or who relieves himself in a water body is guilty of Brahma Hatya. The one who is prosperous and yet does not support his guru, his mother, brother, wife, son and daughter gets the same punishment as one who commits Brahma Hatya. The one who has no bhakti towards Bhagwan Sri Hari is guilty of Brahma Hatya. The one who eats without first offering food to Bhagwan Sri Hari is also guilty of Brahma Hatya. Now I will tell you about Go Hatya, cow. If one sees another torturing a cow and does not prevent him, he is guilty of killing a cow. The foolish man who beats a bull with a rod or rides a bull is guilty of killing a cow. The one who offers a bull leftover, half-eaten food or eats food from one who rides a bull, he is definitely guilty of Go Hatya. The Brahmin who eats food from a coward or a woman of low morals and does not practice the prescribed sandhyas, prayers, is guilty of Go Hatya. The woman who differentiates between her husband and gods and who causes emotional upsetting by her temper and tantrums is guilty of Go Hatya. The one who cultivates land where the cows graze and uses up the drinking water meant for cows is guilty of Go Hatya. He who does not try to save cows from tyranny of the royal class or from some physical distress is guilty of Go Hatya. He who shows disrespect to images of God, to Sadgurus and Brahmins and does not offer pranams is guilty of Go Hatya. The Brahmin who, in anger, does not bestow blessings on those who offer pranams and who does not impart Shuddha Vidya, pure knowledge, to his Sishyas, students, is guilty of Go Hatya. Guru Patni, wife of the Guru, Raj Patni, queen, mother, daughter, mother-in-law, pregnant woman, brother's daughter, chaste married lady, friend's wife, brother's wife, sister, father's sister, sister's mother-in-law, girl student, wife of student, nephew's wife, all these have been pronounced by Sri Brahma as agamya, women with whom conjugal connection is forbidden. The man who casts adulterous eyes on these ladies is considered degenerate and contemptible. In the Vedas, he is called as Matrugami. He gets the fruit of the sin of Brahma Hatya. He can never be included in auspicious functions. His great sin takes him to the hell called Kumbhi-Pak. Badre, I have told you about the different kinds of hell where sinners go. There are many other hells, and I will tell you the sins which merit those sufferings. Sadhvi, the Brahmin who eats the food of an immoral woman and has relations with her, goes to a hell called Kal Sutra. After that, he comes as a human afflicted with disease. A woman who is faithful to one husband is called Pativrata. The one who has two men is called Punchli. A woman with 5 lovers is called Vaishya. The one who has 6 husbands is called Pungi. The one who has more than 7 is called Mahaveshya. The realized soul who has relations with any of these women goes to a hell called Matsyod for periods ranging from 100 years to 10,000 years. The servants of Yama beat him constantly. Then they take birth as partridge, crow, cuckoo, jackal, pig, silk cotton tree for 7 years. The ignorant man who eats food during solar or lunar eclipse goes to a hell called Aruntud. He suffers for as many years as the grains of food he ate. And when he takes a birth, he suffers from stomach ailments. Then, in the following births, he suffers enlargement of the skin, squint eyes, and toothlessness. The one who betroths his daughter to one man and gets her married to another gets thrown into a hell called Pansukund, dirt and dust. Sadhvi, He who takes wealth in exchange for his daughter suffers in a hell called Pansuvesht. He has to sleep on a bed of arrows, and my attendants beat him. The one who silences a Brahmin with false reasoning or allegations, and who causes a Brahmin to cower in fear, he goes to a hell called Prakampan. The wife who glares at her husband with hatred and who speaks to him disrespectfully goes to a hell called Alkamuk. My servants beat her on the head with rods. When she takes birth, she becomes a widow and a sick person. Vaishyas go to Vedan Kund, Pungis go to Dandatadan Kund, Mahaveshyas go to Jalrandra Kund, Kultas to Dehachurna Kund, Swairinis, adulteresses to Dhalan Kund, and wicked, wanton women go to Soshan Kund. They have to suffer great misery in dirty, filthy pits. The one who breaks the promise he made when holding Tulsi leaves, and the one who swears false oaths, he goes to Jwalamukh Kund. Also, he who takes an oath holding Ganga Jal or Shalgram and does not fulfill it goes to the same hell, Jwalamukh Kund. The one who swears by holding up his right hand or by touching a Brahmin or a cow and does not honor his oath also goes to Jwalamukh Kund. Those who betray a friend, who is ungrateful, and who bear false witness all go to Jwalamukh Kund. There they have to eat fire and are beaten by Yamdoots. Then for 7 births they come as Chandals. The one who breaks the oath made with Gangajal takes 5 births as a Mlech, whose ichhas are foul. The one who breaks a promise made with a Shalgram takes 7 births as a worm in sewers. The one who takes an oath with his right hand and breaks it takes 7 births as a snake. Then he gets purified and gets a birth as a Brahmin. The one who speaks lies in a place of worship is born as a servant in that place for 7 births. The one who swears an oath in the presence of a Brahmin and does not honor it takes birth as a tiger. Then for 3 births he comes as a human who is deaf and dumb. The one who attacks a friend is born as a mongoose, and the one who breaks trust comes as a hunter. The one who bears false witness comes as a frog. All these sinners cause their ancestors and their progeny 7 levels on each side to fall into hell. The foolish one who does not perform his daily spiritual practices, who condemns the Vedas and the scriptures, and who does not renounce evil, goes to hell called Dhumra Kund. Then he takes birth as fish and other aquatic animals. The one who misappropriates the property of God and Brahmins goes to the darkest hell called Dhunrand, where he experiences suffocation. Then he is born 7 times as a rat. Then he is born as various types of worms, insects, birds, trees, and animals. Only after that he is purified. Pativrate, these are the various kinds of hell. Besides these, there are smaller, insignificant hells. They are all overflowing with sinners. According to their karmafals, fruits of actions, beings keep roaming the different yonis, stratas. There is no end to this traffic.
The Holy Recital of Srimad Devi Bhagavat. Jai Shri Mataji.